The other day, I was talking to a friend, and he summed up the current state of video game commentary very well. Everything these days is either a masterpiece or garbage, and anything in the middle is ignored. And I think that really does sum up the modern landscape, but more so to the point, it's so easy to paint something as garbage over arbitrary and subjective reasons. Is Veilguard a bad game because you can't do evil things? No, it's just a lackluster RPG. Is Avowed a bad game because you can't smash everything in the environment? No, it just has a lackluster physics engine. Both of these games had a lot of lag in their production and were actually canceled before being released, but I think the bigger issue is around how we talk about video games. There's always something going on in the industry or in society as a whole that results in layoffs, bad faith commentary driven by culture war nonsense, and it has a negative impact on how people view these games that, in reality, their biggest sin was being underwhelming or even just fine. The issue, though, is with dramatic people that inflame disappointment about different releases to the point where all interest in these games just fizzles away. If a game like Fallout New Vegas were released today in the state that it was released in, people would have missed out on one of the greatest games of a generation. If Cyberpunk 2077 dropped in 2025, it would have had the anti-woke community up in arms, and just like Fallout New Vegas, would have been trashed for being buggy and broken on day one. As gaming has become more and more mainstream, more so do we see studios afflicted by corporations focused more on money than creativity. And given how many studios, platforms, and different kinds of games there are these days, I don't see that changing anytime soon. However, the industry, whether it seems like it or not, is shaped by how we as the fans react to it, and as we talked about in previous videos, developers are able to respond better to what players talk about wanting to see rather than what they just don't like. Mark Twain once said, "Comparison is the death of joy." And while I'm not trying to say that comparing and contrasting the subjective qualities of modern video games is a bad thing, I do think that a lot of the times we get caught up in the comparison and don't take as much time to experience the joy. If you create critical commentary, be critical in a constructive way. Talk about the things you loved about a game in greater spades than what you hated. Video games are supposed to be an escape from the negativities of the world. So let's make the discussion around games just as positive an experience. Like and follow for more and check @followertoshi on all other platforms.